What inspired you to become a filmmaker, ma'am? Can you tell your journey, filmmaking journey?
So I come from a very small town where there wasn't even a theater while I was growing up. Even till date, there isn't even a single theater. Due to some political reason, there was some upheaval. Upheaval. Basically, they destroyed the hall. So cinema was not the thing in my radar, never. But yeah, I loved writing, and I did write a lot while growing up, starting from journaling while I was in second standard, and I kept writing. And that's how when I became an engineer, because my family wanted me to become. And I it's not like I was against that. I think I always wanted to become aeronautical engineer, but yeah, I ended up becoming software engineer, and then I also worked in Ericsson for a year. And then I remember I wanted to pursue literature, but of course, पहले job लो, engineering पढ़ो, job लो, फिर passion follow करो. So yeah, I think that was the journey. I did engineering and job, and meanwhile, I was also applying to a lot of places. कुछ भी writing gig मिल जाए. While I was working as a software engineer in Kolkata, and that's how during one vacation I met a student from FTII. मुझे कोई idea नहीं था. मुझे पता था कोई film school होगा, कुछ था, but I had no clue about it. And I got to know about FTII. It was just like a brief encounter of 2 minutes, not even more than that. And basically, that friend of mine, he pushed me, no, you should apply. And then I applied for the screenwriting course. And then when I went to the screen film institute, it was altogether a different world, because for me, while growing up, we were not allowed to watch TV. So my TV would be shut, and my father had got the special box made wherein he would lock the cables. And so that was the journey from not watching and not being allowed to watch television to enter into the world of television. And it wasn't like that. Some people, they grow up being very passionate about watching cinema and all. I was not. Like, I used to read Reader's Digest, Science Reporter, all this stuff. But yeah, I mean, I wanted to pursue literature, and that's how I ended up in film school. And from there, it's another chapter of my life.
Ma'am, how long was the course and what was your experience there, ma'am, in FTI?
Okay, so the course was 6 months screenwriting course. It was very compact. It would start from morning 9 till 5 o'clock in the evening, and then we used to attend screenings as well. So it was very compact. Not even Saturday, Sundays we would be having fun. No, we were just writing, locked in our rooms, or waiting for the feedback, and then the traumatic experience about after the feedback. So I mean, yeah, that was it, and it kind of opened the door of world cinema for me. Like, I had no clue about it. And once I started watching it, like, I remembered like the early inspirations, basically, where I think it was Charulata, Satyajit Ray, yes, and then Wankarwai, In the Mood for Love. I think I was just blown, and it still does something to me, those two films, because that was one of the few films that I started watching, like first films from the world cinema. So yeah, that happened. And yeah, a lot of writing. We had to submit, two Bibles for web series, and we did that. And just, I think, being exposed to that environment where you meet a lot of artists around you, some writing poetry, some doing music, from different visual stuff working together, and it was a great experience for me. It changed. I always tell it, from NAND gates. In engineering we have NAND gates. From NAND gates to FTI gate, it was a beautiful journey. And thereafter, yeah.
Ma'am, were your parents okay when you said you want to go to FTI?
Definitely not. So yeah, that's another story actually. So argument, because my father didn't want me to leave my stable job, and he didn't see future. Of course, we can't blame them, because we come from a very small town, and even till today they don't understand. I mean, a lot of people around me, or from two-tier cities, town, they don't understand फिल्म में क्या जॉब मिलेगा. उनको पता है एक्टिंग होता है, उनको नहीं पता डायरेक्शन, प्रोड्यूसिंग, सिनेमेटोग्राफी नहीं पता. So उनको मनाना took a really long time, but I was very adamant on pursuing this. And I remember, actually, it was my mother who basically told me, You should apply to this. I told her basically about this course, and then she told me. And I remember I was visiting my hometown back in Tura, Meghalaya, and then she told me, no, you should apply. And I was like, okay, I'll apply. And then ho gaya. And then the interview process, whatever was happening, I was very happy and very emotional because I wanted to just leave my corporate job. जैसे तमाशा में रणबीर कपूर का हाल होता है. Yeah, same exact me. So I just wanted to leave that world and get somewhere else close to writing or reading. Yeah, so that happened. तो यार पापा मम्मी के साथ जो सफर वो अभी तक है उनको समझ नहीं आता मैं क्या करती हूँ. तो वो तो यार उसका कुछ कर नहीं सकते हैं यार. वो कुछ जब आएगा टीवी पे देख लेंगे तो उन्हें समझ आ जाएगा. और उनको मनाते रहती हूँ, वो चल रहा है इतने सालों से.
Ma'am, have they seen the short film?
Sorry.
Have they seen your short film?
Yeah, they have seen it.
They liked it.
एंड दे लाइक्ड इट. पापा का एक ही वो बात की जिक्र बार बार करते रहे. एक गाना होता तो अच्छा होता. So when he watched it for the first time also, I remember his only thought afterthought, I mean, was this one sentence, एक गाना होता तो अच्छा होता. And I remember this was way back when the editing was done, and I think it was 2021 when I showed him the film. He said this, and even during COVID he watched the film again. He repeated the same thing, एक गाना होना चाहिए था. I told him budget नहीं था, कुछ नहीं था, मतलब I wanted to add music and do the sound even better, in a better way, but I couldn't because of budget constraints. Yeah, but that was his thought. But he was happy because in the time he was writing about the film journey, and it was traveling to the film festival. So now people were basically reaching out to him and asking if I am his daughter. So that he takes pride in a lot. But journey to abhi bhi he is like trying to understand.
Ma'am, before making your short film, did you assist in somewhere or did you work somewhere else as related to films?
Okay, so I didn't assist anyone. I came to Bombay and I did try assisting Aditya Gaplani. I landed on the shoot on the very first day, and that was when I had shifted to Bombay for the first time. I was traveling from Navi Mumbai to Andheri, and so it was very difficult. So basically, I went to the first day and I felt sick, and I knew that my parents were against my decision, and they had just given me a very small amount of money to find home in Bombay. And that's it. They said that after this we are not funding anything and we're not giving. So for me, my priority was to get a stable job. And I took up a job as a content writer in Lower Parel, and it was in Bharat Wire company. I was writing about Bharat Wire ropes, imagine. Yes, because you need to sustain yourself in Bombay, and my parents made it very clear that they are not going to fund me, and I was okay with that. Okay, it's okay. You don't have to. I'll do it myself. So yeah, that was how I started working as a content writer, and I left the job. Then again, I took up another content writing job. It was for the UPI payments this time, some progression from pipe to UPI, and then after that, I in 2021. I joined basically a production company wherein I was working as a content, in the content team. So yeah.
Great, great, ma'am. Then how the idea came for a woman, a portrait of a willow woman, ma'am?
Okay, so between this time when I was working in the first, as a content writer, so basically I had visited my hometown, and even before that, I remember my mom used to tell me on call that there's this woman who visits us, and I got really intrigued. Who is this woman who keeps coming regularly? And my mom is very fond of her, and we all used to call her Masi, including my mom. So मासी के बारे में बहुत बात होती थी कौन है. I got very inquisitive. So basically, I remember, yeah, one time I had visited in the year, I think 2018. Yeah, 2018, early 2018. So I visited, and then होता है ना समा बांधना. तो सब ऐसे समा बांधे, आप आएंगी इस हफ्ते, आएंगी आएंगी देखना तुम मिलोगी. तो हम सब इंतजार कर रहे थे. So finally Masi walks in, and then my mom introduces me that she's my middle daughter, and all of those exchanging pleasantries, and all of those happened. And I remember I immediately I was very drawn to her. Like, she had no qualms about life, and she had this pleasant smile, and she had accepted her life, and it was quite refreshing to meet someone like that. And I remember there was a staircase, to which leads to the main road. So she was going down, and I felt like I should accompany her. And when I went downstairs, and she turned it and she gave me blessings, and in that moment I felt like very close to her, because also I have because my grandparents lived in Bihar, and we were in Meghalaya, so we hardly used to visit, and they came like once or twice. That was my growing up memories. So when she gave me that blessings, I don't know, I felt very close, like I know this person. It felt like that. So I came to Bombay, and I continued working as a content in the content company. And but the thought of her, kept just lingering, and it kept irking. And of course I was very paranoid, because where I was working as a content writing. And I remember I just picked up my diary and I wrote that I want to film her. I don't know how I would do that at that point of time. I just did write, and I know I was literally in tears while writing that, because I know, of course, the environment and my want and need was not to work there and just passionately do something that I want to do. And I felt I need to film her because she's so inspirational. She has the courage. And if she'll be gone, she'll be gone. Like there will be no record of existence of Dipti Masi. And for me, that became very vital and like very important. That should be something should be there to remind us of her, and that could be a film. So my intention was not to set out to make a film, but rather to document her life so that I could leave a piece of her behind and people could watch her. That was the intention. So I met Aditya Kriplani. I think it was November of 2018, and in Lokhandwala, and I told him about this woman. Well, Aditya is a senior from FTI, is from 2004 batch screenplay department. And so I told him about this woman, and I told him how I'm fond of her, and we call her Masi, and all of those things. And he immediately said, "What are you waiting? Go and you can film." And I told him like, "Okay, this is the amount." I just ran. I didn't know, I didn't know budget लगता है, distribution का भी पैसा होता है, festival strategically अलग होता है, sound ये सब, मैं बहुत लमसम छोटा amount मैंने बोल दिया. He said, "Go, I'll give you." So yeah, so the now the problem was we didn't have her phone number. And so Aditya said, "You go and first find if she is alive and she's okay, and where is she residing currently. Go and find. If all's well and you're able to find her, we'll immediately, transfer the amount and you start shooting." Because I wasn't sure if I'll be able to, work on the camera myself, and, let alone do sound and everything all by myself. Like I was very hesitant. But yes, my friend back then, Rachit, basically he's a cinematographer right now. So I remember just before going, he literally, we sat with a copy and paper and pen, and he taught me that ISO ये होता है, ISO इतना कम ज़्यादा करना, the basics, because I had no idea that I'm going to make a film and how would I do that. So yeah, now the first task when I landed in Meghalaya was to convince my parents, बिकॉज उनको लग रहा था ये तो पागल हो गई है, कहाँ जॉब वॉब छोड़ करके कहाँ जा रही है जंगल में शूट करने, मतलब हमारी बेटी पागल हो गई है. And I remember I gave this dialogue that if Valentina Tereskova can go into space, then that's like, if she can go there, this is me. Just, and they have been very cool about, I have, like, after my 10th standard, I have went outside for studies, and they have never actually stopped me from doing all of those things. But here it's like उनको समझ नहीं आ रहा है ये करना क्या चाह रही है. But yeah, so that was another story that went on for some time. But eventually my father got very interested. He said, "Okay, I'll come along with you, let's go find her." So yeah, so one day we went and we kept searching, because we did not know. We know her village name Hardega, but the exact pinpoint, of course, we did not know. And from moving from one home to another, finally somebody showed वहाँ है आगे, फिल्म के तरीके, मतलब फिल्मी तरीके से आगे जा करके है, लेफ्ट जा करके है. Finally I saw her, and that moment when I saw her, I was literally in tears. And then for her, she took a moment to realize who I was, and she's like, "Oh yes, 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 I go to your home, that staircase, and we have tea." And then she understood. And I got so happy because it was 1 year of just dreaming about her, that I want to make a film on her. So yeah, that was a journey that finally led me to her, and from there on I started filming her.
Ma'am, how long it took to make the film? Like, first of all, searching, shooting, everything, editing.
Okay, so on the day basically when I met her, and from the very next day I started shooting her. Also, the thing was, her work for her was very religious. So it's like I could not interrupt that. Like I didn't have the heart to direct her कि आप आगे से पीछे जाओ, left right जाओ. It's like I just cannot enter into that space. She was too focused on her work, and it's like her work was meditation. And imagine interrupting a meditator, you can't do that. So I always knew that just have to take my camera and follow her wherever she go, irrespective of the time, day, hour. If she's going from here to some other place, I would do that. Also, there was one more thing. So I remember, because she has like a bent body, so I cannot stand and take. It'll be like low angle, right? Neither can I sit and do this. So for me also, I had to be like her, almost half seated, 45-degree angle, and that's how I used to follow her everywhere. So yeah, that happened, and I think I shot over uh, December and January, but we didn't have enough budget, and I had to travel to another from my town to her village, which was a little far. So I just shot for 16, 17 days. That's it. After that, I came back to Bombay, and then I spent the editor Joydeep Das. We spent around 1.5 year, almost a year, little more than a year over, yeah, on the editing. Yeah. And we had the first cut. It was of 1 hour, of course, just like an assimilation of whatever we think was the best for the narrative. And then from there on we tried giving it a structure, like what will be the best way. And after that we had like two more cuts, and then we finally got there. It was 29 minutes. So yeah, that happened. Yeah, and we didn't have enough budget for the sound or anything. So music nahi hai. Papa ko music chahiye tha, yeah. So yeah, so basic, like very basic editing, and then like no money for sound. So yeah,
Uh,
that was the process.
Ma'am, then it was shot. The film was done in 2021, but right now,
Yeah, it was.
it's
Yeah,
being screened for people.
yeah,
Correct?
yeah,
Why is that, ma'am?
yeah.
So much time.
Okay, so basically the film was done on 2021, but then we were also I was applying to film festivals. So I remember during the first lockdown I was back at home, and I was applying to a lot of festivals, and a lot of rejections, of course, because low quality and all of those things. But yeah, so finally we got into film festival, and it takes its own time, the film festival journey. You apply and you wait for another 9 months for the rejection or acceptance. And you apply to numerous film festivals, and that's a journey itself. Like, it's, if not more, then it takes almost 2 years, 1.5, you know because you're applying and result आता है 9 महीने बाद, 1 साल बाद. So that's a journey in itself. So 22, it was traveling to film festivals. It went to Stuttgart, Melbourne Film Festival, and then your Tasveer, and also Film South Asia, Kathmandu. It did a few film festivals, and then the film was lying basically in my desktop. So yeah, because it's such a small budget film. It's not like the like a film that you see on Netflix. It has got a certain, what kind of films are there on Netflix. If it's a documentary, it has got certain phase, very sensational, drama sort of films. So of course it's not going to go on to OTTs. And I also realized, if it was a fiction film, it was way easier, like a short fiction film, even if it's done really badly, it was easier to put on to Hotstar, but not right now. I mean, until a year or a half back. Yeah. So they used to take all the short films on their platform, but documentaries, no. I mean, either it has to be like really good, otherwise documentary का कोई chance ही नहीं है. So I know that was not the option, and my motto was to basically film Dipti Money, which was done. So laptop में पड़ा था, मुझे ये कोई था नहीं कि मैं YouTube पे डाल दूँ या कुछ ऐसा है. But of course, it's always good to show your work to people, right? Then Samarth Mahajan, he basically released Borderlands. So my film and his film was touring at the same time in 2022. And finally, when he released, like a month, or I think in the month of November last year, yeah. So when he released, he tied up with the film Instagram pages, and that's, I think, was a wonderful way to do it, because then it reached a lot of cinephiles, people who care about cinema, and they have like immense love for cinema. These people are going to watch your film, even if it's indie, it's raw, it's small budget, whatever, because for the sake of cinema, for the love of cinema. So that's how what I did. I was very inspired how he did it. So we spoke a bit, and then we decided, and Aditya Kriptani, he said that no, you should really put your film out there. And I was quite apprehensive, because it's been almost, what, 5 years now. When I see your work, when artists see their work, you tend to find a lot of flaws. इसको हम इस तरीके से कर सकते थे, बेहतर हो सकता था, यहाँ साउंड अगर आ जाता तो मजा आ जाता. So all of this apprehensions, I think that's gonna stay with us. But irrespective of that, we decided, no, let's put it out. And I felt that need, that yeah, I mean, the intention was that the world should know Deepti Mani, right? So doesn't matter if there is some flaw, or whatever narrative structure could have been better, or whatever it is. I mean, the world should see her. That's the intention. So I said, okay, let's do it. सोचते नहीं है ज़्यादा. तो फिल्म हमने फिर we partnered with the Instagram community, the film pages, and then the film was released on YouTube. And then a lot of love that we have received from the film Instagram pages. I mean, that is something that I could have never fathomed. Like, the love is immense, and I think I'm happy that the film is out, and the people are watching the film and watching Dipti Mani. So yeah, I'm happy about that.
Great, great, ma'am. You did the right thing. Ma'am, what was the most difficult challenge while making the film?
Uh, difficult. I
Uh,
don't know. Difficult.
funding. We know funding is the most difficult. Except
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
उसके अलावा मैम.
आई मीन शुरू अकेले मैंने खुद से जैसे शुरू किया कैमरा लेके. मुझे नहीं पता था. इट वाज माय फर्स्ट टाइम विद अ कैमरा, लिटरली शूटिंग समथिंग इन लाइफ. लाइक, उससे पहले मैंने जिंदगी में कभी कैमरा उठा के कुछ शूट नहीं किया था. To literally pick up that camera and go out in the wild and just shoot, and you don't know, every time I'm questioning myself, is the frame right? And I was very cautious, because I did have a sense of what is framing, at least, and what looks good, what doesn't. And of course, I'm not a cinematographer, so I cannot achieve that. But in the hindsight, I always had that कि मतलब ये थोड़ा सही दिख रहा है ना. And of course, I couldn't even set it up. Like I said, if I would have directed her, let's move from A to B, then I could have framed it up, and I would have had the time to put the frame in the right ratio, or like POV. बट वो कभी मेरे पास था ही नहीं मौका, मतलब वो लिबर्टी नहीं थी, क्योंकि मुझे कभी भी उनको स्टॉप नहीं करना था उनके वर्क से. सो आई जस्ट हैड टू फॉलो हर. समटाइम्स आई कुड सी दैट certain frames used to be like really good, but she's just like literally she's running. Like, even if she's walking, she's so fast, like people would be she's like bent, and maybe hunchback, and she must be very slow and all of those. No, please, no. Like, she's fully fun and frolic, and she frolics on the road. Like, so I'm trying to literally put the camera and just capture, and then she's running from there. Sometimes I'm putting all the equipments in my bag or doing something, and I have no she's out of my sight, literally, like she's gone way ahead and I don't know. And then I used to go the other way around. Okay, where did she go? So yeah, all this fun. And I would say, I mean, I don't know if it's a challenge, yeah, but that was the problem. And I think that was it for me. And of course, uh, after that, about the budget constraint, because of which we could not put a lot of things, but I think that's also fine. And other than that, the film festival part, I think I had no clue when I started out, basically sending to the film festival. So for me, it was also learning with this film that, which festivals are meant for which kind of films. So for me, I would say, yes, it was a challenge, because nobody is going to come and tell you, you can send it to this film festivals. Nobody does that. So for me, I had, like, I don't know what I didn't back then. I didn't know what to do, so I just doing started doing research. And then it was, I think, 1.5 years of just doing this. And now I can say that I know which film festivals are meant for which films, which kind of films will be gone or will be accepted where. So yeah, I think it's your own learning on the journey, and while you're on the journey, that happens a lot. And it's great because from now when you do your next film, it's all going to come handy.
When there are two scenes in particular. In starting, she says, "Yeah, I died, but I came back again." And there's a scene
Yeah.
in the end when she says, "The director must be previously she was part of my family, and that's why she's taking care of me." Ma'am, then when the main character says that, how it feels, you
Yeah.
must be like, you know that you are doing the right thing.
I mean, yeah, that was completely unexpected. It was in the night we were shooting, and his son was there right beside, yes. And I think we were having a conversation, and then suddenly she said this, and it was completely unexpected. Like, I never expected she would say something like this. And it felt so strong in that moment. And in that moment, it's like it's so emotional, and it's like you know that you're going to burst into that emotions, and you're just going to literally cry, but you're also holding the camera. So it's like the balance of emotion and the camera, because if I go give way to my emotions, then I have to literally put aside my camera, and I can't do that because that's a very important moment. It was basically this, my relationship basically, or my feelings, or whatever I feel for her, led to this moment, I mean, and to this film. So that moment, I don't know, it kinds of sums up the entire journey, even if I don't have to say about the journey. And if people do not know what happened, in a year's time or in a 2 years time, this moment also defines everything, that there were way many beautiful things that has happened, because of which she says this. And there's one more moment, actually, I think this happened on my birthday. So before this, I was shooting this, my birthday was on 9th January, I think, a week back, before this scene happened. And she did something very beautiful that I'm going to hold onto that, memory forever in my heart. And so she got to know that it's my birthday, and then she suddenly vanished. It was in the evening, 6:15, 6:20. She went inside her home, and I was like, what just happened? And then I followed her with the camera, like I do. I followed her with the camera, and there she was on the table, standing and looking into her old aluminium trunk, जो हमारे घर में बेसिकली मम्मी के पास होता है, राइट, दैट ओल्ड ट्रंक. और वहां से वो कुछ तो ढूंढ रही है. क्या ढूंढ रही है मुझे समझ नहीं आ रहा है. मतलब what happened, let's go, what are you looking for? And she's quiet, she didn't say what she's looking. So basically, she took one. There was this black color your scarf, and she takes that out, and she basically gives me. And in that moment, I don't know how to say no to her, because that is like so profound, and it's like a blessing. I said, I mean, I told her it's not required, but she wouldn't budge, she wouldn't listen. So yeah, I took that, and it's still there with me, and it's her blessing.
Great, ma'am.
So yeah.
Ma'am, currently are you working on any new projects?
Yes. So I'm working on a web series for Amazon Prime with Jaideep Sahni. Yeah, and apart from that, I have also written my feature film, which is called The Honeybee Girl, which has been part of two labs. And yeah, hopefully, I'm looking to find a producer this year, so that yeah, I can start the filmmaking process in 2025. And apart from that, I'm also working on a short film which I intend to direct this year. So let's see if I can actually find a producer first.
Wow, wow, ma'am, great, great. Ma'am, do recommend some your favorite movies, favorite filmmakers.
Uh, this is like, it's always difficult to pinpoint and to give one name. I don't think so that's ever right. But uh, which films should I suggest? I think, uh, of course, like I said, Satyajit Ray's, Charulata, Mahanagar, of course, all of those. But I think also Wild Strawberries by Bergman. I think that's one of the finest screenplays ever written. Of course, there are many, but yeah, I love the screenplay. And I think recent one, there's been a lot. Like, I have a list of films, but I think the films which not many people have watched, I would recommend them. So it's One Fine Morning, Mia Hansen love. And the other film is Close by Lucas Thorne, which I loved it. He's just 31-year-old filmmaker, and it's just lovely film.
This story about two
So
children.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Two friends. Yeah, I love this film. And yeah, and 2 days back I watched All of Us Are Strangers, and it's amazing film. I mean, the cinematography, the sound, direction, and the script, everything is wow. Like the sound is so good. Like I can't recommend it enough. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and in terms of documentary, if I would say, Fire of Love, uh, and then Fahad Fazili's Midnight Traveler, and Four Daughters, which came, last year. So yeah, that's my recommendation.
Okay. Ma'am, last question. Any
Yeah.
advice if somebody wants to become a filmmaker, what advice would you give?
Again, one advice, but there's a lot of things, I guess. But to start, I would say take care of your mental and physical health. Very important, especially when you're coming to Bombay, it's going to be fucked. So yeah, very important. Save money, very important. If I think you're working as an engineer already, so you're planning to transition, so it's very important that you save up some money. And where, even if you're coming to Bombay, you need to have like, you have to save up. That's, and I think just, if you want to get into the film world, just observe the world around. It's very important, like, the mannerisms, the how the interpersonal dynamics around you, it's all available, it's all there. You just need to observe the world around you, like very keen observance. It's very important. Yeah, I think, and read a lot of books. I mean, it's the same thing, read a lot of books and all of those things. And I think also reading screenplays, it's very important. Read a lot of screenplays, also maybe while watching and also reading at the same time. That also helps how the editing has worked. It will take a lot of time. अगर 2 घंटे की फिल्म है तो आपको 4 घंटे लग जाएगी, 5 घंटे लग जाएगी, but that's a very good exercise to do. You can watch and read at the same time in your different, and also just pause where you feel like and see the transitioning, because it's helping with everything, the camera how it's changing, the editing how it changes, and it's a very good exercise. You can do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining.
Thank
It's such
you,
a pleasure.
and all the best.
Thank you, ma'am. It's such a pleasure to be able to talk to you, ma'am. I've seen the short film and I really, really loved it, ma'am.
Thank
So,
you so much, Akash.
thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank
Bye bye.
you. Bye, ma'am.